Okay, so we're going to be having a look at 1F today, which is about percentages, and mainly about converting percentages to decimals, or converting decimals to percentages, or converting fractions to percentages. So we'll have a quick look at how to express a fraction as a percentage. So all we're doing is, when we're converting a fraction to a percentage, is we're just multiplying it by 100, right? So fraction to percentage, decimals to percentages, we're just multiplying by 100, but it's not always going to give us a really nice answer. Now, if we use our calculator, we'll generally get a really nice answer. It'll just give it to one thing. But if we're looking at, say, 36 on 90, as we are here, if you multiply that 100 by 100, are you going to get a nice answer, Ruby? So 36 over 90, if we multiply that by 100 to get a percentage, without using our calculator, is that going to work out really nicely, or do we have to do something to it first? Yep. What do you think we have to do?
Change the 100.
Sorry?
Change the 90 to 100?
Yep. So we don't need to change the 90 to 100. We're just multiplying it by 100, but we do need to do something just to make it a little easier to work out. So, yeah, simplify it. So, absolutely. So what will we do? How will we simplify it? So 36 on 90, can we take anything out? 3 out of both, sure. Or, sorry? Yeah, so we could take 3 out, or we could take 9 out, right? So we could make that be, if we take 9 out, we get 4 on 10, right? Which, that's looking a little bit better, right? Now if we multiply that by 100, we're going to have our, so that's 4 on 10 times 100. And if we multiply that by 100, we're going to get something that's looking like, the 10 will cancel out, so we have 1 0 cancelling with 1 0 here. So we're just going to get 4 on 1, which is just 4, times 10. So we'll just end up with 40, and then that's a percent, right? And same thing as when we were looking at some of these things in the past. If we're looking at 0.75, or like a decimal, all we're doing, when we're multiplying by 100, we're just moving that decimal place to the left, sorry, to the right by the number of zeros. So there's 2 zeros, so move it once, and then once again, right? So we'll just end up with 75%. Any questions about that? Cool. And then, conversely, we're also going to be looking at how to convert fractions, which we may not have, sorry, percentages, which we may not have seen, to fractions. So all we're doing there is we're just doing the opposite. So we're dividing our new percentage by 100. So if we have 62%, all we're doing is dividing that, because we're going from a percentage to a fraction. So we're just going to divide that by 100. And that is already looking pretty good. So we can just leave it. That's one step, divide it by 100, and then that's going to be our final answer. So it's a lot easier to go from percentages to common fractions, but it's just a nice way of doing it. Something we're also going to be looking at is how to find a percentage of a number. So if we want to find 15% of 140, we can probably do these kind of questions in our head to some extent, or some of us can do it, but 15%, we can't just multiply that 15% by 140. It's going to give us a number which is much larger, and we don't want that. We just want to find the actual percentage. So what we can do first is we can convert it to a decimal, right? So we can have that 15%, and we want to make it into a decimal, so we're dividing it by 100. So just 15 divided by 100 actually, and that will be our new decimal, or our new fraction, and then we can just multiply that new number by 140 to find 15% of it, right? But what if we wanted to find, say, 85%, or we wanted to find if it goes down by 15%? Does anyone have any ideas what we might do there? Sorry? If we wanted to find if after $140 decreases by 15%, what could we do with that number we already have? So if someone was up there with the calculator, so 0.15, 15% of 140 is going to be 21, right? 21? Yep. So that's just going to be $21. So if we want to find if it decreases by 15%, Yeah, we just minus it from the total, right? So if we want to find out how much it increases, which is going into the next exercise a little bit, it's just going to be 140 minus $21, which will give us 119. Are we all feeling pretty good with that? Yep. Do you want another example, or are you happy there? Are you happy to get started? Does anyone want another example? Thumbs up if you would like another example. Thumbs down if you don't. Another example? Yeah. Okay, we'll give another example. So we'll just look at comparing two quantities. So we'll look at expressing 76 millimeters as a percentage of 40 centimeters. So first of all, what's the first thing that you can see in this question that we might have to do before we move on? So 76 millimeters is a percentage of 40 centimeters. Can we express it as it currently is in those units? No. So what will we have to do? Yeah, so which one do you think we should convert? Which one's going to be easier? So the 40 or the 76? Are we going to convert the 76 millimeters to centimeters, or are we going to convert the 40 centimeters to millimeters? Millimeters to centimeters? Sure, we can try that. So what do I divide it by if I'm going from centimeters, from millimeters to centimeters, or multiply it by? So this is yesterday's content. Can anyone help me out? 10? Yep. So we're dividing or multiplying? So going up a unit, right? We're going dividing? Yep, perfect. So when we go to a larger unit, we're going to divide by that. So we're going to divide to make 76 millimeters go to centimeters. We're going to divide by 110. Yep. Divide by 10. Divide by 10. Yes. So that's going to give us, so we're going to get 76 on 10 is equal to 7.6 centimeters. Now if I want to express that as a percentage of 40 centimeters, what do you think I'd be doing? So I'm going to be looking at this. I want to say that 7.6 is what percentage of 40 centimeters? 7.6 over 100. So 7.6 over 100 would give us something else, right? So it's our total amount that we have is now 40 centimeters. So it's a little bit different from what we've been doing. This one's going to be a little bit extended. So we want to find how much, so 7.6 represents what percentage of 40 centimeters, which is our whole, right? So if we're looking at that, we can say that 7.6 on 40 centimeters is going to be, it's going to give us something, but is it going to be our percentage? So it's going to give us something which is less than 1, right? So off the top of my head, I'm not sure what that is, but 7.6 divided by that is going to give us, it's going to be less than 1. And we have a decimal, right? Do we have a percentage there? No. So how do we convert from a decimal to a percentage? Times by 100. But it's really important that we divide by that original first. So we want to know the total of that. So we divide our 7.6, which is what we want to express, as a percentage of the total. So that's going to give us a decimal, which is not going to be very lovely. 0.19, is it? Thank you for that. This is not the greatest form that I've written in over here, just because we don't really like to express decimals in fractions as well. So it would be more like 7.6 divided by 40. Yep, which is equal to, so 0.19, and then to get that to a percentage, we're just multiplying it by 100 and putting a percentage symbol at the end. To get 0.19 times 100, so we're just moving the decimal place to the right, and that will give us 19%. So we can say that 76 millimeters is 19% of 40 centimeters. Does anyone have any questions? No? So if you want to move on to exercise 1F, and if you need a sheet, if you weren't here yesterday and you didn't get the question sheet, just raise your hand and I'll come around to you.